Okay, so jumping right into it. First question. What's one thing medical school didn't prepare you for?
Ooh, well, medical school does not prepare you at all for the business of medicine. I think that was the biggest thing as you kind of go into residency and realize that taking good care of patients is not quite enough, and there's a lot of like systems based things around taking care of people, like access to imaging and labs, and some of those barriers, medications, how expensive medications can be. So it's not enough for me to be like, oh yeah, go take this pain medication and this antibiotic. Like some of them are crazy expensive. And so, some of that, like just the business surrounding it, how long patients are allowed to stay based on insurance versus need to stay. Like there's so many things like that beyond just taking care of their actual medical diagnosis and symptoms. So I think that was the biggest thing medical school doesn't prepare you for. And originally it was by design. I mean, there was always supposed to be a separation between kind of church and state, if you will. Like doctors were never ever supposed to be involved in medicine, business side of it, because it was never supposed to be like that. It was always supposed to be take care of patients. But now, since capitalism came into medicine and it's a business now, I think that's something they'll have to start teaching people in medical school is the business side, because we're just not. I mean, even if you ask most doctors about like the constructs of Medicare, Medicaid, and insurance stuff, most of us would have no idea because we were never taught it because we weren't meant to. So that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the general consensus across the board. Everyone's saying the business side, but for you to break it down and say that there was a reason behind it makes more sense now looking
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, we're very capable people. It's just we don't know what we don't know until you're in the moment. And then you're like, oh, yeah, that would have been nice. Yeah.
So true. If plastic surgery was an Olympic sport, what would your event be?
Oh, gosh. Like sewing the quickest, if that could be an Olympic sport.
That's a good
I'm
one.
very fast with my hands. My grandmother owned like a trading post back in the days. And so, a lot of Native American beading and jewelry. So I've always been kind of quick dexterity with my hands. So I would create a new Olympic sport, which would be sewing the quickest. But if I had to otherwise pick an existing one, maybe it would be figure skating. I think there's a lot of elegance and finesse to what we do, and kind of creating art with this. And so I think that would be, if I had to pick an actual one, that's probably what it would be.
What's your favorite activity outside of work?
Oh, well, besides chasing my three children, which is, I'm essentially just like an Uber driver right now. And so I don't know if that's my favorite, but that's certainly what I'm doing right now. My new hobby that I've gotten a smidge obsessed with, because most of us just don't do stuff like, halfway. We're like all in. We bought some property recently. And so, I am building what's called like a food forest. It's basically like this permaculture concept, where you have like fruit tree guilds and like a symbiotic relationship underneath them of like nitrogen fixers and pollinators and this whole thing. So I'm like gardening and doing like a whole edible half-acre forest, and I'm having the best time figuring out like what works well together. And a lot of these are culinary herbs. Like I love to cook. And so then I can just tell the kids like, oh, go grab some thyme or go grab some basil, grab some tomatoes from the garden. So we're having fun with that. And there's some medicinal herbs in there too. So there's some like ashwagandha and some arnica and some turmerics and things like that. So we're playing with making like tinctures and stuff. But that maybe is coming back from my Native American roots. My grandparents were kind of herbalists, and I didn't even like think about that connection until recently when they were like, oh yeah, well, we used to, crush and do cayenne, pepper for that, because the caspacin, which is kind of one part of the peppers, can like decrease inflammation. So it's things like that I'm like, oh my God, maybe I did get this from you. Yeah.
Gosh, I'm going to follow up on this because that's
Yeah.
fascinating. And how did you even get into that? If
Well,
you did,
it's funny. It actually started kind of a smidge more selfishly, in that you can get ag exempt from a tax advantage. And so if you had in my region like 15 fruit or nut trees, 4 farm animals, or like 6 beehives. And so then I was trying to think like, oh my God, what could I not kill? And like, what would be fun? And I was
yeah,
like, the property was the grazing for the horses anyways that used to be on the property. So I was like, we need trees. And so I said, I do trees, might as well make it edible. And then that's kind of how it started. And then I went in this whole concept, like, how can I not kill this and still make it fun? And this whole food forest concept is once it gets going, you don't have to fertilize, you don't have to pollinate, you don't have to do insecticides, you don't have to water because it's got like a mulched ground system. So it's like, so it becomes low maintenance eventually. So that was kind of the idea initially. And then I just went off the deep end and I got super excited about like, ooh, let's put this flower with this and learning all this stuff. So I have like 25 books on it now that I've read over the last couple years. And yeah,
That's really fascinating.
it's been super, super fun. But it's funny because I wasn't even a gardener. Like this is just like a new thing and I'm just loving it. I was like, well, when I retire, I can garden and that will be good.
I just spoke with Dr. Pfeiffer the other day, and she's a huge gardener also.
We chatted about that recently. I was like, oh my gosh, we should have some commonalities there. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. What's the most unexpected request you've ever received from a patient?
Mm. Probably like dimples, if somebody to give them dimples on their cheeks. This was God, maybe a decade ago where, even somebody had requested to like make a double chin because they felt like it made them more serious or something or distinguished. And so it was kind of, I think, piggybacking off of those like weird requests for facial stuff. And so I had people say, I think dimples are cute. I never had one. Can you create a dimple? Which actually can easily be done like under local. But it was just kind of, I was like, I don't know. Can I? Oh, I can. And so it was just kind of a funny, interesting request.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
See, name your favorite podcast, book, or resource.
Well, my most recent podcast, as I'm entering teenage stage, is a lot about navigating their ups and downs with their emotions. And so I'm doing a lot of podcasts around that right now. But before that, it was a lot of true crime stuff, because then it just like mindless as I'm driving,
Right.
So they kind of fluctuate all the time. But yes, I think right now I'm into a lot of podcasts on just how to navigate kids' emotions.
That's smart. There's so much
Yeah.
valuable information on the internet these days. So,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh. And just hearing that like people have gone through it and some of the funny stories and like,
yeah,
that it's not about us or me. And, it's just, it's interesting, like how to validate their feelings and not dismiss them. I mean, I think it's very different even as a surgeon. Like I can't fix it and that's okay. And I think that's what I'm trying to learn my response to it, so.
you're a good mom for digging into ways to do that.
Every day's a new day. Yeah.
Who do you look up to in the industry and who inspired you to jump into the industry in the first place?
Oh, that's an easy one. So Dr. Linda Phillips was my mentor. She was actually the whole reason I came to Texas when I was looking at residencies, was to have kind of a strong female mentor in the field. I mean, she was a pioneer back in the days when there was very few women in plastic surgery, and she was able to kind of navigate that balance between having a family still. She has 4 kids, plus a booming career, and how to support other people in the field and teach and still do research and all of those things. So I think I really gravitated to her strength and her ability to navigate it. And I thought if I trained under her, maybe I can glean some of these things via osmosis. And so it's been lovely to train under her. And she's still, I think, a driving force. I still call her with advice on things sometimes. And so I think she's in my field. I think definitely my biggest mentor and champion is somebody who I respect immensely.
She'll appreciate the shout out.
Oh yeah. Well, she's awesome. And she knows that I tell her it all the time. Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
See, how early do you set your alarm for in the morning?
Oh, my alarm goes off about 4:30, 4:45. And that's mostly because I actually, my main office is about an hour away from from where it is. So I wish it was like for something super cool, like getting up to work out.
Yeah.
But it's not. Someday maybe. But right now it's just a kind of, and I've always been an early riser. My husband is, he's in medicine too. Actually, all my kids are, our bus comes at like 6:45 and everybody is like complaining. And I'm like, this is lovely for us. Like my kids are up anyways. And so I think we're all early risers, but mine is mostly to get up. I like to have my cup of coffee and like let my brain kind of wake up. I cook breakfast every morning, so I like to eat the breakfast. So even in college, I'd give myself an hour before I had to go anywhere so I could get up and like enjoy my coffee. Like it's my happy place. And so a lot of it is just to get up, get my brain awake, drink my coffee, have some breakfast before I have to get on the road and drive that hour and a half, depending on traffic.
Good time to listen to those true crime podcasts.
Oh, right. So then by necessity, I get a lot of that for sure.
I love that. What's your favorite restaurant near your practice?
Oh, I have a couple. I think right now, my favorite is this place called Merlion. It is Thai. And it's like right on the water. And so it's got a super great ambiance. It's got great like wine pairings too. And it's a local chef and a local staple by me down outside of the city. But Houston is known for its food. I mean, it's got new, awesome, bougie restaurants that open all of the time. So it's really fun to kind of just eat your way through Houston. But that's one that's like around the corner that we love. And so it's got some great curries and things.
Add it to the list when I come visit Houston.
Yes, because it's not right in Houston proper. It's kind of in one of the burbs. So it's nice. It's in Kemah area. Yeah.
If you weren't a plastic surgeon, what would you be?
Oh, probably like a travel blogger. Those are popular now. I love to travel. And my husband luckily shares that, and the kids, like last year, we were gone so much and we got to do like a Mediterranean cruise and we got to go to Australia. I think it's so nice to expose kids to travel early. I think it gives them a really good worldly perspective. And I think a little bit more empathy when things in the news and stuff happen because you've traveled and experienced stuff differently. So you're not in your little bubble. And so I think that's been, and even domestically, I mean, we travel, even on some road trips and things like that through some of their sporting stuff. So I think travel, and if I could get paid to write about it or to, share my experiences, I think that would be like the best job in the whole wide world. Maybe a
Hop
travel
on
planner,
board.
if they don't let me blog about it, that'll work too.
I love that. Let's see. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Um, Probably as it relates to balance, balance isn't something you find, but something you create. And I think that's totally true because people ask all the time, like, oh, how do you do all of these things? I mean, there's lots of things I don't do. Like, I don't do laundry. At all. Like I hate laundry. I don't do dishes, so I love to cook, but then, I'll either have help doing those things, or like, my husband who loves to eat but doesn't cook. So like it's a good relationship because then he'll help do it. And now the kids are old enough, that's one of their chores, but there's only so much time. So there's certain things you just don't do and you just let it go, to give energy to things you do enjoy that you think are important. So, things like that, I just kind of cultivate and create my balance. Like, I'm not going to ever be like my, Pinterest mom that does the best birthday parties every single year. In fact, my daughter was joking with me because her birthday was a couple weeks ago, but we still haven't done her birthday party. And she's 9 now. And she actually just sent out her own invitations to everybody and said, hey, my birthday's coming up this weekend. And I was like, cool, guess we're going to do it this weekend. Cause Hazel decided, and so I'm like, all right, I'm going to get it together, so they're just things like that. You just roll with the punches, be flexible and joke about it. And she'll, you create that balance.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cute.
It was pretty cute. Actually, a bunch of moms called me and are like, so I need some more details on this birthday. And I was like, oh, didn't know we were having it. Got it. I guess I'll come up
Me
with
too. Yeah,
yeah, I need some details too. Yeah.
so cute.
Yeah. I loved her tenacity though. So I guess that'll take her far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's only 9, like
She's
cute.
9. Yeah. She's like, all right, mom, I'm gonna go ahead and just send these out. It's got her little stationery, her name on her stationery and everything. It's so cute.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, Android or iPhone?
iPhone. Yeah, I haven't played with the Android, and people that love it, but I just find Mac's actually quite intuitive and easy to work with. And since I've had one, I haven't gone back.
Yeah. It's usually the general consensus. I'm one of the few Samsung people, so it's
Oh,
been
nice, nice.
fun.
And actually, if you look at some of the features, you're like, that's amazing. You know what I mean? But I just, you get so used to something that you're like, and they all integrate nicely that it just
For
became
sure.
easier. Yeah.
What's one piece of technology or a gadget you wish existed for surgeons?
Oh gosh, for surgeons. You know, right now the new hot thing that they haven't quite worked out the kinks for. Well, there's a lot of new hot things, but something
Mhm.
related to female plastic surgeons or surgeons in general, occupational injuries on our body is like a real thing. So with a lot of the large volume lipo, if you look at it, not a lot of women do large volume lipo because it's really quite taxing on your body. Shoulders, elbows, wrists, your fingers. So getting tools that doesn't help with like your CMC arthritis because that's a really common occupational injury for female plastic surgeons. So they're coming up with and starting to play with these exoskeletons, which literally just like you put on underneath your gown when you scrub that offloads the pressure on your joints. So it may give us a little bit more longevity in the operating theater, especially with these like high energy metabolism things that are hard on your body. So I think those are one of the new hot things. They're not quite fitting all people in all sizes, but I think in the next, few years, I think we may have some really good options for that to offload shoulder joints and elbows and things and just give us a little bit more strength and length of our careers.
It's really fascinating. I had no
Yeah.
idea, so I'm gonna dig into that research more too.
Yeah, it's a newer thing. A couple of my partners have tried it, but they kind of rub on arms a little bit differently. So they're not quite user friendly yet, but they're working on it.
Right? Oh, so cool.
Yeah,
And then two more questions.
sure.
If you could have a conversation with your past self when you were a resident, what would you say?
Ooh, gosh, as a resident, I think it would be to just like sit back and enjoy the ride a little bit. I think sometimes we're so bogged down in getting to the next stage of life, whether it's undergrad or medical school or residency, you're always pushing for that next thing to be that you lose sight of kind of in the moment. I trained in Galveston and it tends to be a very collegial group, which was fantastic. So we had a lot of great friendships. And so just taking time to like cultivate those friendships and being happy where you're at. We worked really hard, but we tried to be thoughtful about, enjoying that moment too and each other and those friendships that we made at the time. And I think just being present a little bit more in that time and kind of enjoying the process as opposed to just being so driven on, I got to get the best grades. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to take care of this patient. I got to call back this phone call. You have so many other small tasks that you just don't stop and appreciate like, wow, this, how much knowledge you are gaining and how great that moment was because you're just trying to move on to the next thing. So that's what I would say is just kind of stop and enjoy the process. Just stop pushing so hard to the next level.
Important.
Yeah. That's probably a microcosm of life though. Like even in jobs, we're all like trying to go for the next promotion where sometimes like it's okay to have a moment and enjoy the space you're in.
Yeah, we all need to remind ourselves of that.
For sure.
And then last question, how can our listeners find you?
Oh, they can find me on all of the social media platforms, usually www.kristihustakmd.com for websites. And all my handles are a version of Kristi Hustak MD. So I don't quite do Twitter. I think I actually have a Twitter account, but I don't do a lot with that, nor do I with TikTok because I'm not super fun and dancy. But I do have some platforms there that my girls every now and then are like, hey, come do this because it's funny. But mostly Facebook and Instagram.
So much for taking the time to do this. You've been
Yeah.
a joy, so I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I'm so sorry that I missed you when we were in Austin, but I was running around a little bit.
I know it honestly, it goes so fast. I feel like after Friday evening, it's gone in the blink of an eye.
It
Like
really
summer,
is. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm like, I need to do these extension ones because it's so fun to get to like know you guys better and give you a, little shout out, little platform. So really appreciate it.
Yeah, love it. Love it. So fun. Well, great. I'm glad this worked out. It was perfect right in kind of my lunch break. So
Thank you so
you're
much.
so welcome. All right.
All
Well,
right,
take
I'll
care.
talk
Have a
to you
good one.
soon. You too.
Take care. Bye.